You're not going to have both. So if you continue going this route, you're not going to have this route. She says, because you're never going to be allowed in my house. I will never talk to you.
Look at that. That's
She
a woman.
says, she says,
Not many women does that.
you will never, ever step foot in my house again.
Drugs.
She says, if you take this route. Well, I thought about it, and I thought really hard. And I had a half a kilo of cocaine at my house. I walk
You
up
were selling too?
Yeah, I woke up the next day. It wasn't even paid for. I got that shit on credit from my dealer in New York. Woke up the next day and I looked at it. I went to go do a line and I just picked it up, walked over to the toilet, went like this and flushed it. Went in the refrigerator and opened up every can of beer. I had like four.
Just like that, huh?
Just like that.
Because he wanted to.
$4,000 worth of Jack Daniels. I dumped down the drain.
God bless you.
Jack Daniels was my baby. That's my boy, and that's what I would drink. I would drink that all the time.
Hey, you.
I would.
You dumped that too?
Dumped everything. Dumped it all. Everything. That was in 1989.
That was happening in your mom's house?
No. I had my own apartment.
Okay.
This was after my first wife had left me, or I threw her out. That was in 1989. 1990, I did a 1.5-year stint in Annandale. I got out in 92. 93, I had a drug and alcohol relapse because of people I started hanging out with. And it was the bad crowd. And I always fall into that. And it only lasted a day. And I says, you know what? I don't need this shit. I don't need you. I don't need you. And I don't need this shit. We're done. And I left away. If you're a friend of mine, you're going to walk away just like me. But if you stay here, you mean jack shit to me. And I walked. And they didn't follow. And I haven't seen them ever since. That was 1993. And I've been clean ever since.
So 1993 you give up?
1993, I stopped doing the drugs. I continued drinking beer, but not the hard liquor. Never went back to the hard liquor. It was like, it had to been a special occasion for me to go to a bar and do shots and shit. But other than that, I didn't get real heavy into it. And I wasn't violent. I was never violent. I don't know what a hangover is. I don't know what getting drunk is. I hung in a bar that was my landlord.
What happened with all the drugs and you dump it? You trashed it?
You
pay for it?
Yeah, eventually, yeah. I paid him off. I paid most of it off, and he credited me the rest. He goes, "You're a good man." He goes,
You were straight up.
He goes, "You're a good
run
man."
away.
He goes, "You could have ran away and not paid this." He says, "But you came to me and told me what you did." He goes, "I'm pissed."
I love that.
He goes, "I'm pissed."
I love that.
And this is a big drug dealer in New York, and did what I had to do.
He was smart, because if he was gonna mess with you, you would quit on that shit. You could have burned him in a different way.
Yep.
He knew that. Am I right?
But I'm not a rat.
No, I'm saying.
Right. I could have, but this was
Guess what? If I'm gonna pinch you, you're not gonna respond. You're gonna,
of
right?
course.
Somehow.
Of
That's what I
course.
mean.
Right.
If he was gonna be messed with you, pinching you, hurting you, because even though you attempt
Because I
to
could
do the
burn-
right things,
Right. I could burn them in
you
the long
attempt to do right things, because conscience is always right. Am I right or wrong? If you would have run away, your conscience knows that you fucked it up. You took somebody's credit. That's his business to do whatever he's doing. But you burn his shit that belongs to him.
run. Exactly.
Your conscience knows.
And
it.
I went and I talked to him. But when I first found him, a friend of mine told me, well, not a friend of mine, an acquaintance of mine that I was getting high with, told me to go talk to this guy on 185th. And I walked up there, the only white boy in the neighborhood, and I showed no fear. And they came up to me, they're showing me guns and everything. And I said, "That's a pea shooter. You want to see my 357? He's like, "Okay, no problem, dude." He'd go upstairs, because I always walked around packed. It was either a 357 on the ankle or a 45 in the back. I
There
always
there was no police check about that all those years?
never got caught. Never got caught. I
It
got
was all
caught
paid
with.
off?
I got what?
The police was paying off, getting paid off?
No. Never got caught. Nobody ratted me out.
Okay.
Nobody ratted me out. I had one scare, and the cop next door to my house came over. I had a big party. I had a one bedroom basement apartment in an apartment building in Newark. Next door neighbor was a family, and they were all cops. Well, the son comes over. I was real good friends of him. I used to sell him drugs.
Okay.
And he came over and he goes, "Yo, Kev, you got to clean up 5 minutes. You got 5 minutes. Use my garage. You got 5 minutes. They're barreling in here, bro. They got everything. Everybody's coming. The whole force. Somebody ratted you out." I'm saying, nobody ratted me out. They ain't stupid enough. He goes, "No, somebody dropped a dime, bro, because they're coming. And I just got the phone call." He goes, "Why do you think I'm suited up?" He was suited up in tactical, everything, right? He leaves. 2 minutes after he walks out of the house, they all come in. Boom, I had the whole house. They didn't find a spot of nothing.
You emptied it out.
Empty.
You listed it.
Dude, I vacuumed, I washed the walls, everything. They didn't find a trace of drugs anywhere in my house.
Wow.
Dogs came in, couldn't even find nothing. Found absolutely nothing. That's how good I was.
Wow.
I was good. But the ultimatum. I could have still been doing it. I could have been a millionaire by now. But, like my mother said, either she would have been burying me or I would have been in jail for the rest of my life.
Thank you. She was a smart lady, man. Is she still alive?
Yes, she is.
She must be one of the women
her and my
with
father.
with the dictatorship that I love that kind of woman.
My mother's 70, my father's 75, and my mother's 74. They're not in the best of health. My father went through a triple bypass, lost a kidney, went through dialysis, retired, moved to Florida, got a kidney, and he plays golf every other day.
That's good.
Out in Florida.
So he got a kidney transplant.
Yep.
Wow.
He's got a kidney from
thanks to your mom, man. See, you're not saying nothing about your dad. You saying everything about your mom.
See, my father's military.
He was always out.
My father wasn't home all the time to raise us or to discipline us. My mother always did.
God bless her.
But my mother's Irish. And
God bless her.
she comes from a very large family.
Okay.
And
But
a
she
lot
wasn't
of my
fooled.
uncles,
She wasn't a fool at
if
all.
one of us kids did something to hurt my mother, all her brothers and sisters would beat the living shit out of us.
It didn't give her that cleverness. She's done that not because of the backup is strong. She did that in her cleverness.
Exactly.
You understand? That's the
Exactly.
totally differences.
Right. But what I'm
That's
saying,
what the strategy she follow shows her cleverness to me.
Right.
Otherwise, yes, some big family sports the woman, they untouchable and all that, but that doesn't show certain action.
no, my
the
mother, my
intelligence
mother
that you
was
need to
always
see.
taught.
You don't see it.
Right. When my mother left her mother and father's house, my grandparents' house, and moved out and got married to my father.
Yeah.
They've been married since '61, and they're still together. They still live together. They're still married
God bless.
to this day.
'Cause
57 years.
That girl,
50
that woman will not gonna do wrong. I'm telling you. Doesn't matter what kind of man your father was, that woman will control that.
Yep.
That kind of woman,
You tell me a woman you know that has a flat tire would jack up the car
change.
and change that tire,
Yeah, that's
or
another
do a
thing.
tune up to a car because she didn't want to go pay a mechanic to do it. That's
Yeah.
my mother.
Wow.
I remember driving down the shore one day. We lived down in Bricktown. We were coming up this way to go see relatives up in Nutley, my aunt in Nutley. And my mother got a blowout. Well, she pulled the car over, and I remember her taking us all out of the car. There's 4 of us. I have an older sister, older brother, and a younger sister, plus me. So there's 4 of us that's my mother's raising. On the side of the highway, she puts us up on the hill.
Makes you safe.
Takes everything out of the car, jacks the car up, takes the tire off, puts the spare on, and puts us all back in the car. And drives away.
You know what? She was by herself, but for a reason. I mean, hey, listen, you were lucky boy, bro. Because so
Everything
many
I know
kids
today,
get lost because their father's not around.
Right.
Their
My
mother's
father
not
was
capable of.
right. My father was around,
But
when he was home from the military, because he was in the Navy. He's a Navy SEAL. He's a retired Navy SEAL. When they closed down Fort Hancock in Sandy Hook, that was my father's base.
okay, yes,
He retired in 1985.
that's
They
when
all
it closed
did.
down.
That's when they totally closed it down. So the whole gang of them retired because the commanding officer.
I ran in and out all that area.
I know. I could take you through tunnels you
Yes,
want and even know
really?
was there.
Wow.
I know every one of them
Wow.
because as a kid, that's all we did. I could tell you where all the bombs are. I could tell you where all the landmines are, and they're still there. But because they can't find them all.
Of course.
Because, every year you hear, oh, they found this in Sandy Hook, or they found that in Sandy Hook.
Not even half
You
of
know,
it.
and
Right.
it's not even half of them.
That's true.
But I used to, I got into my father's locker one day, and I took his sniper rifle out, and I'm running around with the sniper rifle. I didn't know what the hell it was.
Really?
And heavy gun. It's a heavy gun. And my father got pissed.
Of course.
And I got in a lot of trouble for it. And back then, I couldn't understand why. And I always said to my father, me and my father always bumped heads because I'm like my mother. I don't take shit off of nobody. I'll speak my mind. And I'll tell you the way it is. If you don't like it, there's the friggin' door, and I'll tell you like that. And my father came at me, and I says, well, you walk around with it. He goes, I'm allowed to. He says, you're a child.
That's right.
This isn't a toy.
True.
I says, well, you were a child when you joined the military. You were 17 years old. You didn't even finish high school. He goes, you getting loud with me? I says, no, I'm telling you the way it is. And I was like 10 or 11 years old. And he called my mother over. And my mother had to calm me down because me and my father were really getting into, he was ready to knock me out.
Exactly.
Because I was going back at him. And that's not, I guess it was resentment because he wasn't always around with me. And I still show resentment to my father to today because my mother taught me how to fish. My mother taught me how to work on cars. My mother taught me how to cook and grill and fillet fish and all that. My mother taught me all that. My father didn't. I never played baseball. I never played football. I never got into sports because I didn't have that father to teach me.
Okay.
My mother was.
You didn't have no brother? You
I had
sister?
an older
Okay.
brother, older sister. My older brother got into sports, weightlifting, and shit like that, but I didn't because I showed resentment because I didn't have my father. I was the middle child, and I thrived that father bond. And my brother was just my brother. He had a bond with my father. They
Somehow.
always talked. So every time I came up and I went to talk to or have a conversation with my father, the minute my brother walks in the room, even to this day,
Attention goes right on him.
goes right to him.
Wow.
And I feel pushed off to the side. So I have a lot of resentment for that. And I think my father knows. And I sat them down and explained to them why I went to prison this time. And my father just sat there and did what he did and didn't want to
Right.
hear nothing or
Really?
anything.
Or
and it was like,
being guilty unconsciously.
probably.
Probably he knows. In part of it, he has some kind of